Hey everyone, we are presenting our lesson plan for the show and tell assignment. We each will present a section of the lesson plan, so you'll be hearing from Jonathan Varela, Gabriel Cunico, Lance Renfro, as well as myself, Michelle Bernal. The subject of our lesson plan will be over zoology, so students will have the opportunity to compare and contrast characteristics of animals to those of mollusks, and this will be the overview. It will be a 3-day project and will be targeting grade levels 11 and 12. There are quite a few standards that will be met, so as you can see, there are 3 categories. The SEPs are in the light blue, and this pertains to a scientific stance, so within this section, students will evaluate the claims, evidence, and reasoning behind currently accepted explanations or solutions to determine the merits of arguments and use these bits of claims to support their reasoning. Therefore, they will be making connections of nature to science. The next category is in yellow and is DCIs. So this pertains to students looking into complex ideas and really looking into depth of the situations as well as solving problems. So for example, thinking about an ecosystem and the types of organisms that help make up that sort of ecosystem, so the plants, for example, and students would think about how each organism plays a crucial part in that environment and what would happen if a disturbance would occur. So this section would really encourage critical thinking. Then we have CCCs, and this is in the green category. This will cover an explanation on how things change and what makes them stable. So underneath these categories, we also see the objective, and this is students will be able to describe and explain the anatomy of squids.
So I'll be going over the description of the lesson plan. And for this one, we're doing the 5E version of the lesson plan. So to start off, to engage students, we'll have them watch a short video going over the giant squid just to get them engaged and interested in the subjects. And then after that, we'll give each student a sticky note and ask them to write down a question they have about squids or something they already know about them, and we'll have them post it on the board just to start getting them more thinking about the subject. And then for the explore sections, we'll have students work in pairs, and they'll be assigned a specific part of the squid from its anatomy, and they'll have to basically look up the information either on their book or on their laptops, and they'll have to explain where it's located on the body of the squid, and as well as its function. And up on the front, we'll have an unlabeled diagram of the squid, and after about 40 minutes, we'll have the students each present in groups the body part they were assigned, and then while they're describing it, we'll write it down on the board as well as the location of the body part. So that way they can work together to help fill it out. And during that same time, we'll also be checking for understanding and walking around for it. And we'll also repeat instruction as needed. And then for the explain section, students will start they'll first take a squid dissection quiz where they'll have to label about 10 body parts of the squid's anatomy, and extra time will be given to those who need it, and they'll also have the option to verbally demonstrate the knowledge of the at least 10 body parts of the squid. So instead of having to write it, they could tell us verbally. And after that, we'll have the elaborate sections where students will get in pairs again, and they'll work together to dissect a small squid. And during this, they'll have a little piece of paper and a pin where they'll pin down specific body parts and label them. It doesn't have to be any set 10 of them, but at least 10. And at that time, we'll be walking around and asking them questions, trying to see if they understand what's going on. And again, we'll repeat instruction. And there will also be written instructions for students to look at. And finally, for the evaluate, students will choose at least 5 body parts of the squids that they labeled during the dissection. And they'll explain how they knew it's correct, like the position it's in, and they'll also explain its function. And Students will also have an opportunity to explain more body parts for extra credit in case they're ahead of time.
In our lesson plan, the assessment will take place, as Jonathan mentioned, by using a quiz and research format. So we will have a research, which will be instructing the students to research a body part of the squid by themselves and trying to understand its function. They will then share what they learned with the class. So this can be done either in pairs or individually. And this will also let us know the basic anatomy of the squid to make sure that the students know it. We will also be doing a quiz on these so that we can quiz the students on the basic anatomy of squids and their functions. When needed, MLLs or SPED students may test orally and may be paired up with other students depending on need. At the end of this lesson, students will choose at least 5 body parts of the squid they dissected and explain how they know the location is correct and what its function is. Again, for MLLs and SPED students, they may test orally and in the sections below, we can see summary of instructional procedures. We can see cooperative learning, pairing. These two kind of play together in that during the dissections or research portions, we can put them in groups, that way to help MLLs with both vocabulary for the class and also just conversational English. We will also have a small lecture portion in that the teacher will show how to dissect and may teach on the different functions while dissecting. It's hands-on learning because of the dissections, and technologically integrated because we're going to be using YouTube and most likely also some other form of explanations using technology. Reading, the dissections can also be located in the textbook for the class. If students, specifically MLLs, have a hard time with the readings, we can also create a recording of the instructions given. SPED modifications, we will have written instructions, we can repeat instructions, peer assistance, check for understanding, extra time for oral response, extra time for written response, preferred seating, and student choice. For English language learners, or as we usually call them in our class, MLLs, we may have multiple choice options demonstrating, check frequently for understanding, one-on-one instruction, will build on prior knowledge. We may also do partner or collaborative works, particularly with the dissections or, again, the research project. Thank you again for listening and looking through our lesson plan.
I just want to say to the whole team, you guys did a great job, and as an editor, I am very happy with the work that we did.